And the next thing on the BXG tonight will be the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. And let me just say, Lord help me.
Amen. Amen.
The Harfoots are making their trip. The stranger helps out, fights off some wolves. The Galadriel's training the folks of Numenor to fight with her in the battle ahead. Rondir and I don't know what her name actually is. I wrote Milfred because she's kind
Good
of
enough. Yeah,
um
makes sense.
Rondir and whatever her
John
name
Deere, a John Deere
and John
tractor.
Deere. Yeah.
Be sick.
I
Two
can't
colorways.
I can't find her on IMDb. I kind of don't
It
care.
doesn't matter. No, it doesn't. It honestly doesn't matter, Brendan.
They're trying to get ready for whatever is going to happen. Elrond and Durin. This was the most compelling storyline throughout this episode. Elrond, who I just can't unsee Dr. Oz now.
Sure, right. He is Dr. Oz.
Yeah, they're
Senator, the future senator of Pennsylvania. Not really. Hopefully not. I never know. You never know because
you never know.
Pittsburgh, there's Philadelphia, and then there's that whole middle goddamn part of the state that just doesn't know what the hell is going on.
The light of the elves is fading, and they need the mithril.
They do need that mithril
to survive. And then the end is everybody sailing off together, and Isildur, he's involved. You got some notes?
I got some notes. I have 4 notes on this show. It was slow. I don't care. I just don't care. I do not care. There's nothing here that captivates me at all. There's nothing of intrigue. It doesn't even look that good. If this show looked good, that'd be awesome. But when you spend $7,000 billion gajillion on this,
450 million, not including
450, and it looks like it was like pasted together in like Mario Paint from '95. Sometimes that's where I have a problem. So I was watching this at school, as I do during my breaks, and the internet cut out. The Wi-Fi was gone.
And you felt relieved?
And so here's what happened. So my phone, like I don't have my Prime set up for cellular at the time. I did not have it set up for cellular at the time. I just had it set up for Wi-Fi, and it said, "Oh, your Wi-Fi's out. Do you want to connect to your cellular?" Now my cellular is free with my account.
Mm-hmm.
And I said no at the time because I was like, sure, I don't want to watch. I do not want to continue to watch this show. And I looked at that as a sign from God that is like, why are you doing this? You do not need to watch this show anymore. And I was like, well, maybe something will happen. I said that. I can't believe I said this of all people that I know. I was like, maybe something will happen. So I went back about at the end of the day, when I have my little half-hour period of the day where I just sit there and I don't do anything because I'm very proficient at getting ahead of my work. And the Wi-Fi, or the not the Wi-Fi came back on, but I got the Amazon alert saying, "Do you want to connect to your cellular?" And I said, "Sure." So I watched the final 40 minutes of the show, and obviously, because it's the show, nothing happened. I do not care. The future of the elves are in your hands, but we already know what happens. So we actually don't care. This show.
Do you know what's peculiar about that?
What is peculiar?
We know how all this winds up, right?
Yes.
And they have not done a particularly great job of giving us a compelling storyline to be invested in, the risk involved, right?
Right.
Meanwhile, a different show that we just covered, For the video reviewers, you can check out our season 4 or episode 4 review of Andor. We also know what happens to him.
You also know,
and yet
but
I'm
we
on the
care.
edge. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Right. Because there's this thing. It's this group of people, and you do a thing where they type stuff. And they're called writers.
Do you know what's really funny about this? Actually,
No, I don't.
I know where
Okay.
you're headed with this, like with the writing,
Yeah.
right?
Sure, yeah. Everyone should know. If you don't know, you are a writer on this show. If you don't know where I'm heading, you're a writer on this show. You're like, I don't know what is happening. We don't know what's happening.
I think that a lot of people are up in arms. A lot of people were up in arms about the different, a black elf and a black dwarf and,
right, yeah,
whatever else, right?
That matters.
But I actually think that these writers have done the best job thus far of really interpreting Tolkien's work, because if you actually read those books, it's just gobbledygook.
It is gobbledygook. I will agree with you on that, Brent. But the idea is not when you adapt a movie from a book, it's to cut out the bullshit, and make it entertaining.
Right. That's why there's no Tom Bombadil in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings series.
Right.
Because the character of Tom Bombadil is insanity.
Yes.
He's a guy that could have just taken care of the ring, but just like didn't feel like it. Why is he even in this fucking book then? I digress.
There's nothing. You know what? No, I mean, if there's a digress, like this show isn't good. I don't like watching it.
It's a slog. It's a slog on a weekly basis.
It's the only part of this show that we do, and we talk about like the show doesn't feel like work. It never feels like work. This show literally feels not like work. It feels like I'm in West Virginia. I got the coal mines going, and you're just hoping to see the bird. You're like hoping that bird's telling you things are messed up because you want to die. Like, this show sucks. I think this show sucks. I will essentially say this show is not good. This is the worst television show. This is the worst television show. Honestly, I think this is the worst television show that we have watched this year. Because there's nothing there. I don't care about any of this. I don't care.
I don't think the bar for being bad has been set very high.
No, I don't think so either.
So I don't think it's a stretch to say that.
Well, it's not. But we haven't watched every single television show.
Yeah, right.
I'm just saying that for what we watch, this is the worst show.
Oh, it's not even close.
And I don't care about it. What's funny to me is I like laughing about it though. I like watching it and just being like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
So, but let's get into that a little bit.
Okay.
About why. Sure. Here's my thing about it.
It's very poorly written.
$450 million to make this show, and it is so unremarkable. In any way. This show to me is this show is like the USA Network, USA. Like their last big show was Mr. Robot, and other than that, it's like like La Femme Nikita was their last big show. This is like USA looked at Game of Thrones and was like, "We got this."
Yep.
It's just I feel like I don't care about the characters. The action is whatever. Like, to me, the action's not even good because A, there's not much of it. There's not much of it. And B, it's the only memorable action sequence to me thus far was in the very first episode in the cave against the frost troll. And I found that particular action sequence to be comical in nature because of how it ends, where she does like a video game fatality on this thing. Poses.
Yeah, that was so funny.
Like I didn't
finish him.
I didn't like that. At the end of the day, I guess the reason, aside from aside from the fact that we are reviewing this for the podcast, is that to me, there's a glimmer. Like every episode, there's just a glimmer of hope that it's like, listen, it's Lord of the Rings. It's the most, top 1 or 2 fantasy properties ever. Surely to God. Surely to God. They have to find a way. They have to find a way. And I think that, do you know the way? I think that the end where they are sailing off to battle, it provides me with just this razor's edge of hope that they can turn this around, because to this point, this show has been boring. It's boring.
Boring.
There's not. I don't care about the characters.
That's my base. I don't care. Like, I just don't.
Elrond looks like Dr. Oz, and I can't unsee it.
And I know, like, you described the writing. Okay, so there's the part where he's like, he's talking. He's like, "You are, the fate of the elves rests on you," or whatever. I don't even care anymore.
Sure.
Whatever, and they repeat that line like 9 times.
You're the chosen one.
And it's like, you don't need to repeat the line 9 times. We know. We are watching this show. We get what is happening. You can say it once because maybe, like, you're not paying attention that closely because the show's so fucking boring. But, like, you don't need to say it the next 4 times. They're like, what am I? What am I? And it's like, they literally, these writers, I don't know what's going on. Here's the thing. Hire me. You know what? I'll take a nice pay cut for $10 million a year, because I don't know what these writers are getting paid. Give me $10 million a year. I can read these books in a week and do something way better than this crap. Because I will say, this is garbage. This is garbage television. And if we weren't doing this, Brendan, if we weren't doing this for the show, I would be so out on it. I probably would have watched it if we weren't doing this for the show, because I really do enjoy the movies, except for the last 30 minutes of the last movie. But beyond that, they have no idea what they're doing. They don't. It feels like they are just lost in.
It's just so. It's like so. Halbrand is just he's great value Aragorn, and it's just
the pacing. That seems offensive to great value. Like, at least the pacing, it's edible.
The pacing is just it's a slog.
I feel like the best thing they should have done. This is, if we could rewrite the writer's room, these shows have been 35 minutes each.
Maybe 45.
Yeah, but no longer than that.
No longer than that. No.
Because there's dialogue that happens for 10 minutes where people are just talking to each other for 10 minutes. You're like, nothing happened. Like, and I know that's my key phrase, and that could be like, you know what? When we make,
you should get that
merch,
shirt. Yeah.
But this is the show that is really the emphasis of nothing happened.
Yeah.
Because nothing happened in this episode. Like, this is actually an episode where actually there was no progression of anything. Exactly. I'd rather watch this at this point. I'd rather watch this.
Oh, the Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger. Oh, the French.
Oh, the French.
I got nothing. We gave this show too much time, I think, Brenton.
Yeah, let's move on.
Let's move on.